Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Gino, welcome back.
Thank you, Libby.
From your trip. I'm so glad to see you.
Thanks.
Jim and I did a little bit of banter, but no offense, Jim, but it wasn't quite the same.
We've got a history.
We do.
We really
We go way back.
You bet.
So at our board meeting last night, it was a fairly tame meeting. We got out kind of early. I talked with the board about what we've been doing on kind of an action plan we have going with harbor water quality. We have a harbor action plan, and some of these things are in that plan, but we have some other things as well. We talked about some amendments we've made to the shellfish regulations. Upcoming are amendments to the mooring regulations, septic system regulations. We've done landscaper training in connection with the fertilizer regulations, and there is a new sort of a license system for those regulations. There will be, all the licensed landscapers will be given a scannable license, have a barcode on it. And so when the enforcement officer, we're going to have a seasonal enforcement officer for fertilizer regulations,
Wow.
goes into a landscaper that's doing some work at somebody's property, he will scan that license and we'll be able to see at the end of the year or whenever how many times the license was scanned and for what purpose. All
When is
to
this
check
all
compliance.
supposed to come about?
Soon, for this summer.
It will be
Yep.
this summer.
Yep.
We are getting serious about fertilizer.
We are.
So
And-
what does that mean? I mean,
Well, fertilizer is one of the major sources of nitrogen in the harbor, which obviously degrades water quality. And the idea is to have best management practices with regard to how it's applied and what exactly is applied. So that was what the landscapers were trained in, and it's a matter of the existing regulations don't have a lot of enforcement teeth. It's a lot about education and outreach and visiting them and while they're at work and saying, you know, you're really supposed to be doing it like this.
can that enforcer test the ground as well while he's there? Is that part of his job?
No.
So how can he enforce anything if he doesn't know
Well,
how
he
much?
sees how there's these best management practices. Like I said, no, I'm not a landscaper and I
All right.
don't really know what those are
Okay.
entirely.
Right.
But they know. And so they'll be able to see what they're doing and they can check what they're actually applying for fertilizer. So that's one of the components of our plan here.
Now,
And
I'm just curious because this is kind of new. Does it mean that this is like, if it's a plan, I'm assuming that there's a long-term plan too? So if you look at it, approach it with education in mind for the first year, maybe in years to come, there might become more enforceable?
yes,
Okay.
that's something that is going to be contemplated for sure. There's also statutory considerations, so you have to do all that within the confines of the Massachusetts general laws. So anyway, another effort that's going to be ongoing is an eelgrass survey that the Natural Resources Department will be conducting with the Department of Marine Fisheries, Division of Marine Fisheries, that's a state agency, and that'll be happening this summer as well. So there's a lot of things going on with harbor water quality. Other Board of Selectmen items, let's see here. We had a report from a Finance Committee subcommittee regarding town employee retirement and the costs associated with it. We had a discussion that was initiated by an abutter to the Silver Street parking lot, which is a municipal lot, and there were concerns that there were too many commercial vehicles being parked in there. Long story short, the board did not take any specific action on that. We had a discussion, the board had a discussion about a memorandum of understanding that we have with the Planning and Land Use Office, the PLUS office, which basically is an agreement with the town and the Planning Commission, which technically is a separate regional planning agency, for the planning director and the deputy planning director to oversee the staff of PLUS, which is building department, health department, which is actually coming back under town administration, the zoning office, and the planning board function. Also the Affordable Housing Trust. So there was a bit of just some discussion about what exactly the agreement does. we're going to need to take the health department out of it. There was a little bit of a concern that it's too open-ended in terms of termination. It kind of is an evergreen situation where it goes on and on with no specific date for termination. So we talked about maybe we ought to have an annual review of it. And that was about it on that. Those are the most of the things.
What's the purpose of implementing the planning people?
Well, we had done some consolidations several years ago with various departments, and the idea was to lessen the number of departments reporting separately to town administration and put them into one agency where the 2 or 3 people or 4 people, I forgot HDC is also in the PLUS agreement, report to one person who reports for the purposes of administering that office to the town manager. It's reporting and functioning better, consolidating the offices so that they don't all have an individual budget. There's one budget. They don't have 12 copy machines. They have less than that. That kind of thing. It's meant to be more efficient and organized, really. Those were our main things at the board meeting. We don't have a board meeting next week because we have annual town meeting starting on Monday, April 6th at 6 p.m. at the Nantucket High School auditorium. We have a warrant that should have been mailed out. People should be getting it by now. Did you get yours? Okay, good. And so that has all the motions in it. Now, here's the thing. One of the first items of business at town meeting is going to be to take up what we call technical amendments. It's a list of annoying things that have to be done before we can launch into the articles. And they primarily are things that came up or were noticed after the warrant went to print. So for example, Article 10, it's all the same bottom line, but the source itself is a little bit different, but all totals up to the same thing. We also realized very recently, because of procurement situation, that we're going to fund a particular project, Children's Beach Boat Ramp, a different way. So that's in there. There are some parcels in real estate articles that had the wrong address, kind of. So like instead of 125 whatever, it should have been 124 or something like that. So it's sort of minor-ish things. Another thing, though, that happened yesterday was the Finance Committee changed a comment that it had on Article 53, which is a zoning article. So there's going to be that in the technical amendments as well. So again, town meeting starts Monday, April 6th. The warrant is also online if you didn't get it in the year, and there will be copies at town meeting, but we really encourage you to bring your warrant with you because we don't have a billion copies at town meeting. There's a limited number because the idea is that you bring the warrant with you. We have a voter's guide that we developed that is meant to explain the articles in layman's terms. That is online. It will also be at the town meeting. There will be some handouts for some of the bigger articles, the fire station, the school. There may be others. So that's a big deal, town meeting. You're going, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a huge town, and
it's a big town meeting.
Encourage everyone to go.
Yes.
I mean, this is really important.
This is the big thing of the year for town government.
It's one of the bigger town meetings that I can remember. I mean, some of the stuff is really important.
Yeah. For sure. There's
lots
always
of spending.
something.
I mean, there's some serious.
There's lots of spending.
Yeah.
Some serious spending. Yes, there is.
Okay.
The annual town election.
Is it going to be 3 days? Do you think? Or
well, I would never say what it's going to be, obviously. Right. But I would anticipate, I'm kind of hoping for 2 days, but realistically it may be more like 3. I don't think it'll be 4, but you never know.
Right.
You just never know. The annual town election will be coming up the following week on Tuesday, April 14th. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the high school. And like I said, there's no board meeting next week, but we will have a meeting on the 15th. So I'm just waiting. I'm like waiting for town meeting. We will have a new selectman. Last night was Bruce's last regular meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
it kind of, nobody said anything.
Nobody said anything. I was about to say something, and then
Well, he had
I don't know
that
if I
great
should.
little joke at the end.
That was hilarious.
That was very good.
we should have
Well, it was
tweeted
April
that.
Fool's Day, and
I know.
at least he was on top of that.
I
man.
should have him email me that. We should put it online. That was
That's
so
a
funny.
great one.
Because we should respond back to that.
We should have read it. Yeah, I mean, too bad you couldn't
I know,
read
it's
it.
too bad I didn't have it. It was a funny email that Bruce, and only Bruce apparently, received from some people on the Vineyard, an organized group that think Nantucket is trying to tout itself as being better than the Vineyard.
Right.
And so we better cut it out, or else
They're gonna.
they've acquired a male skunk and a female skunk, and they're planning to release them on the island on April 1st, 2016, if we don't, calm ourselves down.
Did we ever have skunks out here? I was just
I
wondering.
don't think so. I hope not. I don't think so. But
Okay.
but I mean,
Did they have them on
don't
the
get
vineyard?
any ideas, people.
They must have them on the vineyard
Of course, they have them on the Vineyard,
because it's closer to the
because
mainland.
it's the Vineyard.
Oh.
Of course, I'm kidding. Belated April Fools.
It
was a funny joke,
They
though.
don't have skunks on the
I
vineyard?
have no idea. I don't know.
Okay.
So it was just funny. Anyway, I'll try to get a copy of it so
All
I
right.
have it online. I think that's it. So thanks very much. See you next time.